Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we uncover the root causes of health issues as we explore holistic solutions to help you reclaim your health. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, an integrative health practitioner and professor, and I'm joined by Gerardo Ortega. Today on Real Talk, we're exploring the topic that affects millions of people but is often misunderstood. This will be an honest talk on allergies. We're going beyond runny noses and itchy eyes to uncover what's really happening inside your body when it reacts. So why do some people seem sensitive to everything while others breeze through the allergy season? It's a good question. And how do food, gut, and health and chronic stress make all the difference? Gerardo doesn't have a background in health, and that's exactly why he's here. He brings honest questions, relatable insights, and grounded perspective that helps make this conversation real. So let's get into it. A quick medical disclaimer: this podcast is for informational, educational purposes only, and we do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Let's get started. How you doing, Gerardo?
Thanks, man. I'm glad to be here. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Yep. So we're back at it again.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, I got a lot of questions today.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So first off, honestly, I never understood what allergies actually are. I mean, why does my nose go crazy every spring while my friends break out in hives from strawberries? Are those even the same thing?
Well, that's a great place to start. And I love this question because it shows how different allergic reactions can be. Even though they're not connected, or they are connected by one core issue, the immune system overreacting, let's talk about how it works. And so allergies happen when your immune system sees something that should be harmless, like pollen, pet dander, or strawberries, and mistakenly labels it as dangerous. When that happens, it releases chemicals like histamines to protect you. The problem is the proactive chemicals create symptoms: runny nose, itchy skin, swelling, trouble breathing. So yes, your nose and your friend's skin are both reacting to the same kind of mistake by your immune system. But the symptoms look different because everyone's immune system is wired a little differently. As you know, we saw with my migraines and stuff, it's a nightmare. My body's very different than other bodies, so individualized. So from an integrative health perspective, we ask, why is the immune system reacting so intensely? So it's not always about the substance, it's about your body's resilience. That includes like gut health, stress, toxins in your environment, nutrient deficiencies. So in other words, the reaction to strawberries might not be about strawberries. It could be about what's happening inside your body and how overloaded or inflamed things already are. So allergies are just the tip of the iceberg. The real story, especially when we talk about integrative health, is what's happening underneath.
So it's not just about what you're exposed to then. It's about how your body already doing before you even touch the strawberries or even go outside.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Imagine your immune system's holding a bucket. Every stressor in your life, lack of sleep, that's a lot of us, processed food, emotional tension, environmental toxin, it's water dripping into a bucket. The pollen or the strawberry, that's just the last drop that makes the bucket overflow. And the overflow is the symptom you feel. The tricky part is most people only focus on the last drop. They think, oh, I need to avoid strawberries, or I hate spring. But we rarely ask, what's filling my bucket the rest of the year? So you have this whole year of, having these different issues and stuff. So is it, those little things, or it's, a mixture of a whole bunch of things? That's the integrative shift. That's when we help people reduce total burden, clean up their diet, heal the gut, calm the nervous system. The same allergens might not cause the same big reaction anymore. So again, it's that bucket and your bucket overflowing, but if your bucket's emptied, you may not have that reaction to, say, strawberries or the weather anymore. And this is why people can walk through the same park on a high pollen day, and one is sneezing like crazy, that'd be my wife, while the other one is fine. It's not about the park, it's about what their immune system is already dealing with.
That makes a lot of sense. I've noticed that when I'm stressed or eating like garbage, my nose and allergies get way worse. I always thought it was just a bad timing, but are you saying stress can actually make my allergies worse?
Yeah, I think, it's a big one when it comes to stress. I think, especially in our everyday environment, we're in a society that's very stressed out, but yeah, it's absolutely the case, and you're not alone thinking that. So stress is one of the most underestimated factors when it comes to allergy flares. When you're under stress, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. That's a big one. I think a big topic everybody sees, right?
Yeah,
Nowadays.
that's the main topic right now.
Yeah, cortisol. You see all these videos popping up about cortisol, but it's a thing. So small amounts of cortisol help regulate inflammation. But when stress becomes chronic, your body stops responding to cortisol properly, which means inflammation goes up. And that includes your immune system overactivity. And so that, that's where we talked about, same with like the migraines and stuff too. Overactive immune system can cause issues with migraines. So on top of that, stress messes with your gut health. It disrupts digestion, damages the gut lining, and makes it easier for undigested food particles and toxins to leak into your bloodstream. That's called intestinal permeability, or better known as leaky gut. I think we hear that all over the media too nowadays. It's a major player in allergies and food sensitivities. The more stressed you are, the more vulnerable your immune system becomes. It starts to react to everything, even things previously tolerated. So if you're noticing your allergies get worse when life is chaotic, that's not a coincidence. It's your body way of saying, I'm overwhelmed. And the good news is when we address the overwhelm through sleep, nutrition, breath work, mindfulness, symptoms often start to calm down, even original allergen is still around. So the question I have, do you ever think that, based on stress or work or, family health issues, that your allergies get worse? I don't think people connect that.
I don't think so either. I feel like this year around, I feel like they arrived a lot more sooner than usual. So it could be a lot of things, to be honest. I know I always look at the weather as well. Whether it's the weather that I'm looking at, or it's I think there's like a pollen reader on there. So it kind of tells you like, hey, today's a good day for the air quality, or today's a bad air quality day.
So a question on that though is, and this is something I learned over the years, is that you can, in your mind, make yourself stressed just based on reading or hearing something. Like I used to, histamine intolerance and stuff, histamines in general. I used to think, if I have a certain kind of food, it's going to trigger a migraine. And you know what? If I had that thought in my head, if I eat this strawberry, I'm going to get a migraine. As soon as I eat that strawberry, I get a migraine. Or if I eat, just whatever, almonds, it's going to trigger a migraine. Then it got to the point where I would just think about it. And I would just say, I'm going to go out to dinner today. I'm going to get a migraine because I'm probably going to eat something. It's going to have some ingredient. And I'll get a migraine before I even go and eat something. So it's my mind, just by thinking about it, my mind is causing my body to release histamines, which is triggering an allergy. So when you think about it, if you look at the weather and say, man, tomorrow the pollen count's going to be super high, I'm going to be sneezing all day. What if your mind is triggering the histamine release? And it's not the allergies, but it's your mind doing it.
That could be it.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? You could look at that weather and think, man, tomorrow's going to suck. It's going to rain. I'm going to have so much bad allergies because the pollen count's so high, or because the wind's supposed to be so high. And you're stressing yourself out, and it doesn't even need to be.
You got to view it in a different perspective now, like just kind of wake up, do your morning prayers, and kind of just make sure that, everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, it's just take day by day. So don't stress it. There's nothing you can do. It's out of your control. You can't control the weather. So
yeah.
You can't give up your life either because of allergies. I know I'm not going to go out now all summer because of my allergies. It's like, well, what could I do to correct that so I could enjoy life?
I would deal with it. And I notice that anytime when I cut the grass, I know the next day is when everything's acting up, as far as, from my nose to my itchy eyes to my sinus pressure. Every time I cut the grass.
Yeah. And you don't want to make the wife do it?
No. Not yet, but I have the 3 boys that are getting older, so eventually they'll be the ones taking over the house.
Yeah.
Chores.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I know, right? So I always thought allergies were just something that you had and that you had to live with, but now it sounds like there's more flexibility there.
Yeah, especially how we're just talking now. It's the one thing that's more helpful that I try to share with people is allergies aren't always fixed or permanent. Yes, some people have true lifelong allergies, especially like to peanuts or shellfish. But many others are dealing with sensitivities or inflammatory overload, and those can be shifted with the right support. So again, on the integrative health side, We look at things a little differently. So here's where it gets more interesting. A lot of people call allergies are actually food sensitivities. And I know we talked about that on the other podcast, but that's a big confusion for a lot of people on food sensitivities versus allergies. A lot of people don't know what a food sensitivity is. So curious, did you know what a food sensitivity is versus an allergy before?
No, not without proper, obviously, research. Like I always thought food sensitivity was more as far as like that your body was sensitive to it, kind of like an allergic reaction. But now that I'm looking at the differences, there is a difference out there.
Yeah. So, again, that's people know allergies and they may relate allergies to food sensitivities and vice versa. But it's a completely different immune response to the body. So again, that's all about education. So we're trying to educate the people to understand there's a difference between food sensitivities and allergies. And that's where we'll go next, because understanding the difference can be a game changer.
Okay, now I'm curious. You mentioned food sensitivities that sound different from regular allergies. What's the difference and why does it matter?
Yeah. And, again, we try to educate everybody out there, because I didn't know any of this before really getting into integrative health. And the only reason I got involved originally in integrative health was daily migraines and going to so many doctors, and so many doctors saying, oh, you have cancer, to you have brain tumors, to you're allergic to everything, to just everything. I mean, I've been through so many doctors and specialists to get told it's one thing, then the next doctor, no, it's not that, it's this. To find out, it's like, okay, I got to do research on my own. My body's individualized. I need to do something else. On the physician side and all the on the medical side, the testing they were doing wasn't helpful whatsoever, right? Like, okay, you have a neurological issue with migraines. Okay, we do MRI. It's issues with your nerves overreacting. Okay, then why when I have a piece of food, I have a reaction? How come when I lift weights, I have a reaction? How come when I get stressed, now it triggers a migraine? How come when I look at food, I get a migraine? So it's much more than taking a pill, resolving the issue. I had to look at the food. So again, it's a good question. And honestly, again, that's where things get misunderstood, because allergies and sensitivities are often interchangeably, but they're very different under the hood. And that's what integrative health looks at, is under the hood. So let's start with allergies. When you have a true allergy, your immune system responds using something called IgE antibody. That response is usually immediate, within minutes of exposure. So think of someone eating peanuts and breaking out in hives, or such as their throat starting to close up. That's a classic allergy. It's intense, potentially life-threatening, and involves very specific arm of the immune system. And again, I know we talked about this on other podcasts, but we'll talk more now on the food sensitivities, which uses IgG antibodies. It's a slower, more delayed reaction. Instead of breaking out in hives, you might feel bloated, tired, foggy, head not clear, irritable. And this usually happens 12 to 48 hours after eating something. It's not as dramatic, but still your immune system reacting. And again, talking about food sensitivities, sometimes there's a delayed reaction. I know, initially we're talking 12, 48 hours, which is common, but it also could be 5 days later. So again, my migraines, I would eat almonds on a Sunday, and then Thursday I have such a bad migraine. And what does it relate to? The almonds I ate on Sunday. So just on that side, have you ever experienced something that you think, hey, I ate something, I feel bad, but it's always not that same day?
Not the same day per se, but I know for a fact, like I've said it before, it's like dairy, anything milk product, within 2 to 3 hours, I'll notice it. But as far as like couple of days later that I'll look back into it, no, it's just now that I'm, I guess I could tell you that I'm eating cleaner. Not the best out there, but I'm still eating a lot. My choices are a lot better. I'm not getting more upset stomachs like I used to, so now it's just way more home cooked meals. Very, I don't want to say picky, but I like fast foods that we go out and have every once in a while.
Yeah, because when it comes to like that, so we have the milk. So if you have milk, right, a lot of people have milk and, 20 minutes later they're in the bathroom. That's very common. But other thing, think if you ate, I know it wasn't too long ago where you ate something and the next day you're like, man, I shouldn't have had that. I feel so bloated. I feel
It was a day that I had a lot of like fast food that day. I think I started off it might have been with Burger King for lunch, and I think we did pizza for dinner. And the very next day is kind of just like I felt very groggy, and I felt very like I was out of place just because I knew, hey, if I want to run the best, I need to feed my body the best.
And that's the downside. It's like, man, food sometimes, like I'm not a foodie at all. I eat to survive. Like, I don't know. How are you? Are you a foodie?
Yeah, you said that you eat to survive. Well, I survive to eat.
That's a lot of people, man. But I think I got to the point where I just eat to survive because of the migraines. It got so bad to where I hated food. I have a bad relationship with food, and it was always anything I would eat would trigger a migraine. So it's, it becomes a nightmare, and people get to the point where you do such an elimination diet to where you're not eating anything. It got to the point, when I was going through my personal health journey, investigating on myself rather than going to these doctors that would tell me things that are totally wrong, was that it got to the point where I eliminated everything and slowly introduced stuff. I learned that if I eat chicken, no reaction. So what did I do? All day, all night, that's the only thing I would eat. Like I'd be so afraid to touch a strawberry, touch an orange, to do anything. But it took years for me to do elimination diet to identify things that were triggers. And then, again, that's personally doing elimination diet. So for those that don't have the funds out there to do a food sensitivity test, other ways you could go about it is elimination diet. So eliminate stuff, slowly introduce. But again, if you eliminate something for weeks at a time, not just you eliminate it for 2 days and try it again and you're having a reaction, because it takes a while for that food and those chemicals to get out of your body. So keep that in mind if you do elimination diet. But so I eliminated a lot of stuff. Then it got to the point where I used to have almonds all the time, almond milk. Then I used to think they were fine. And then once I introduced or ate a bar that had almonds in it, I was like, man, within an hour, such a bad migraine. I never figured that out before.
Wow.
I had to eliminate it. But like those things, what did you eliminate that you knew? Obviously dairy.
The dairy was one of them. I think right away was cheese from my sandwich. I ended up switching a lot of things from the bread that I was having. I think it was just like a regular wheat bread, and then I went to like a seeded bread, which is, to me, it tastes way better. And then I would always have like just regular Doritos, like just all name brand Doritos, Fritos, all that stuff. But then I started to kind of slowly start kind of removing them from my diet, as well with pop,
So now if you introduce any of those things, and when you do you have a reaction?
Yeah, I know. Yes. And I know it's not sitting right in my stomach. And it's just like, it's just a discomfort as far as like, I'm not having any like gut pain or anything. It's just a discomfort that I know that I shouldn't be eating it, even though it's so good,
Yeah. So that's where it goes, like the mental side of it too, because you eliminate stuff, then you introduce it, and then you think in your head, man, I shouldn't have had those Doritos. And then I just wonder if your brain causes the reaction too, right? Because you get, I shouldn't have did that. And then you're down the whole day, and then man, that little thing, that's why my stomach hurts. And then you're thinking that's the cause, It could be. And the bad thing is, I would say, is when we introduce something, we introduce like 5 things at once. Do you notice that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because not just you had a Dorito, plus you have this, plus you drank this, and you shouldn't have had any of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I would go ahead and it could just be like a combo. It's like, but you get off the couch because you're watching a movie, and you'll get up and you'll probably have a granola bar. You'll get a handful of nuts, a bag of chips, and maybe a drink of some sort. And it's like all those together. It's not just like a small snack. You're having multiple, and you might even throw popcorn in there because you're also having a movie night. So, so all of that could kind of just pile up all at once.
Yeah. Do you ever too notice you snack not because you're hungry, you're just bored? I just noticed throughout the day, if I'm busy working on stuff, I get up so many times to look in a cabinet, nothing in there for me to eat. I just get up and look in there, and I was like, I'm not even hungry. I don't even know why I'm even up.
And I think for me, I'll get up because I know I have to eat something, not because I'm bored. I just need to have more. For me, I need to continually eat. Like I could be snacking all day, and I think I should I would say I think I'll be okay versus other people that are not, that might have a stationary position or a job would be different. But for me, that I'm walking so much, the way I see it is I need to pack on as much as I can, calorie wise.
Yeah. So we did the episode on food tracking. So if you keep track of your food, I think that's a good thing when it comes to food sensitivity for those that do not do food sensitivity test is you're keeping track of everything. So you kind of know what you're eating, what you're not eating. So then when you do, bring something in that you weren't eating before and you mark that down, you can say, hey man, last week was a horrible week. And you look back at your food tracking and said, I know exactly why. It happened on Wednesday. I had this food. And
yeah, exactly.
But food tracking, that's what's great for that too, because you could kind of slowly identify. So again, if you're not buying a food sensitivity test, you're not trying that. And the other thing is, again, elimination diet with food tracking. That's going to be key. But when it came to the whole migraine thing, and when I went back and when I learned years ago about food sensitivity testing, and I did a food sensitivity test, I was shocked to see what I had sensitivity to. Almonds, which made sense. I wish I had that test years and years ago. But almonds was a high trigger. I didn't eat fish, but shellfish and stuff was a super high trigger. Green tea, which I drank all the time, was a trigger. There's so many things on there. I think the one list you could get 194 food sensitivities, and there's other multiple tests you could get. But you could see different kind of beans and stuff, what you have a reaction to. But once I did the food sensitivity test and saw everything I had a reaction to, a good one was apples. Another one was broccoli. I'm fine with blueberries, but bananas I'm supposed to stay away from. It's all these different things that you don't realize until you do a food sensitivity test, then eliminate those foods. Once I did that, my migraines went down. I still get them, but nothing like I was having them 7 days a week, pain level of 9 or 10 for years and years. And then do a food sensitivity test and this makes sense now. But it's that piece of the puzzle that people aren't aware of. So that's where it gets tricky. Most standard allergy tests only look for IgE. So if you have food-related symptoms but test negative on an allergy panel, you might be told everything looks fine. So again, you go to your allergist and they do that IgE test, and they come back and be like, oh no, you're allergic to dust mites, nothing here. But a lot of times they're not checking you for foods or chemicals and stuff. And a lot of those allergy tests, you may, and food sensitivity doesn't touch on this, but like toothpaste, that was a trigger for me. All these dyes, red number 40 and all that. And a lot of these toothpaste has silica and all that in there. Come to find out, well, if I have that toothpaste, that brand like Crest or something, I can't have because it'll trigger a migraine. But people don't relate their toothpaste or fluoride, right? Fluoride's another trigger for me. So I use toothpaste and all that without fluoride. But so people don't know. So again, if you go to get an allergy test from your allergist, they're going to do, a specific panel. I know they have more advanced testing, but they still may come back and everything's fine, but clearly something's not. So that's where food sensitivity test or elimination diet comes in. That gives us another tool to find out what's really irritating your system. So again, I know that's the next thing we got to get for you is a food sensitivity test. So,
you know what? And I'm kind of I want to get it done, but at the same time, I don't, because then what if you come back and say, hey man, you got to stay away from X, Y, and Z, and those are my favorites. It's hey, you can't have chicken or you can't have beef, even though I know it's not going to say that, but I'm just, giving you an example. What could be eliminated from my life, for good?
What if work is on that list?
That would be good. I think that doctor's recommendation right there.
It's about your health, right?
So now wait, someone could be reacting to foods for years and not even know it's a sensitivity because it's, just showing up later and it doesn't show up on a regular allergy test.
Exactly. So that, again, allergy test versus food sensitivity test, two totally different testing, two different, looking at two different avenues here. So again, integrative health, that's where we're for food sensitivity test. And, these are at-home tests. They're not that expensive. It's worth getting, especially if you have different symptoms and stuff. And, we hear it a lot of times, bloating and brain fog and Again, allergies, right? Sneezing all the time. Well, is it based on food you're eating? Again, you're not having an allergy reaction. Your throat's not swelling up, but you could be having a food sensitivity. You eat something and, hours later you're sneezing and sneezing and sneezing. My wife sneezes 5 times a day, 10 sneezes at a time.
Wow.
It just never ends. So when we're out in public and people like, you can only say God bless you so many times.
Of course.
It gets repetitive and people probably think sometimes I'm rude, but I'm so used to her sneezing. It's like just talking. But that's, these food sensitivities are more common than people realize. You could be eating something every day like eggs, gluten, or dairy and not notice a direct link. But over time, you have headaches, fatigue, eczema, joint pain, and no one connects it back to food. This is especially when it's, days later, who thinks about what I ate on Sunday and I'm having reactions on Wednesday. A lot of people don't think about that. But food tracking, you'll kind of be able to identify those patterns. So what's even more frustrating is that the systems can be subtle or they could build slowly. So people assume they're just aging. That's how the body works now. That's what common people say. But in reality, food sensitivities are often a sign that your gut barrier is compromised or your immune system is stuck in a loop of low-grade inflammation. Inflammation is a big topic we all hear about, right? Omega-3s are great for inflammation. And so again, that's where integrative health shines because we look at the whole pattern, not just one lab marker. We combine testing with clinical observation and lifestyle context. For example, if someone has skin rashes, we don't just look at their skin. We look at their gut, their liver, their stress, their sleep, their food. Everything's connected. So again, how many people have hives and they think, it's my allergies. And when it's something really they ate, they think it's the weather.
Yeah, or age as well.
Yeah. Well, so you see that, but my knees are killing me. And it's like, well, oh yeah, I'm old, whatever age. It's like, yeah, I mean, you hear people in their 20s, right? Teens, my knees must be bad stuff. And then you realize it's possibly inflammation. And there's inflammation tests we do out there. A good one we do is omega-3 inflammation testing. So to test, omega-3 to omega-6 ratios out there, but that's where we gauge inflammation too. So, but there are a few tests to do.
Yeah, and like for me, since I started the supplements, all your recommendations, like I've had fewer and fewer joint pains as we continue, this healing process.
Yeah, because omega-3 is a big one, right? I think everybody talks about omega-3 nowadays with inflammation. But again, it has to be a high quality product because there's so many horrible junk products out there that contain fillers, and you want pure products with no fillers. So third party tested, but that's why we recommend, top vetted sources. Again, you could go to the website to get a discount off that. But we would suggest a high quality omega-3 and at least around what I would recommend to you or my family member would be, at least 2 grams of omega-3 a day. That helps tremendously.
Yeah. So about the omega-3s and all that, let's see here. I've been taking them. I've been on them. And it's like, I know a lot of people have always had issues where they'll eat them either on an empty stomach or after they eat, and they'll complain because they taste like fish. And what I've always recommended when I hear somebody tell me like, hey, I'm taking supplements, all I say is like, it makes me happy, but I always tell them the first thing that comes out of my mouth when they tell me that they're taking supplements, all I say to them is good job, and start, even if they might be good quality, but I always let them know like, hey, just make sure that they're high quality, because there's so many out there that, like I said before, it gets overwhelming, That's how I was, and that's why, I reached out to you, years ago. So,
yeah. Usually people though, did you notice they're on high quality? Was it any of the brands that you use that they would have that? Because usually high quality will not cause somebody to burp or anything, or taking an empty stomach. But for the most part, even the high quality ones, usually they won't have a fish taste.
The one that this was a while ago. I ended up buying some from the vitamin shop, and I think they were priced real high because they were a lemon flavored, So if you were to burp them out, you'll taste the lemon instead of the fish. But now, with the ones that you recommended me, like I don't notice it as much, but I always take them at night though. Like I haven't burped them up and it's like it tastes like fish. Then again, I might even have like a handful of like nuts that I'll just take them and then I'll have the nuts, or vice versa. I'll take the nuts as a fatty. Uh, um, how should I say it? As a fatty intake, I guess, for the night, and then I'll just go ahead and take the pills. But I've never burped anything up like that.
Yeah, as long as you take them with food, you want to take them, different times of the day. A lot of people do, 2 to 4 grams a day, but take one, early morning, another one at evening with dinner. But and just in general, at least get it in one time a day, and especially have them, with dinner.
I've definitely had periods where I'm eating healthy, but I still feel awful. Could it be, that like, I guess I would say, can the healthy food still be triggering me?
Yes, and you're probably not alone with that. So even the most nutrient-dense foods can become inflammatory if the body isn't processing them well. I'm a big one on that. I have a lot of stories there. So let's say you're eating a lot of eggs, almond or spinach, all great foods. But if your gut's inflamed or leaky, your immune system starts reacting in overtime. So this doesn't mean the food is bad. It means that your system needs healing. So again, you could be taking something that you think's good for you, but because you have these other healing issues, that's what's causing the trigger. So again, that's why I often recommend doing an elimination diet for a few weeks. Again, not 2-3 days, but I always go for at least, a couple months if it's me. Some people can't live without food for that long, but for me, it's like my health comes first. The pain is horrible. So, stomach discomfort.
Yes.
It's like when you have so much discomfort, you realize, man, it's not worth it.
Nope, not at all.
And sometimes you still give in. Like, man, I'm going to eat that. Hopefully it doesn't do anything. And it does do something. So, I don't know. I mean, it's all over the place. So you have to, hopefully everybody out there stays foodies and enjoys food. But for me, not so much.
Yeah, discomfort, sorry to cut you off, but the discomfort for dairy for myself, it's horrible. Like it is, like that's the last thing I want to be going through. Like if I could be here at your house for a party and, there's dairy products, I may, kind of eat them. I guess that would be like my very last choice to have, and I'll have like a minimum of it, but that won't be like my main thing, like that you're serving ice cream. Yes, I'm going to get some just because I don't know if it's going to get triggered here, or if I know that I'm about to walk out the door and go straight to my house. Yeah, you know what? I'll take that to go. I'll eat it at home. So if I do get the discomfort, it'll be at my house, not anywhere else.
Yeah, but it just sucks living like that, Like I want to enjoy life. So that's why, I used to be really bad. We go to people's houses or parties and like, I eat at home before I leave because I thought they're going to have something, or some people buy cheap food and man, that's going to trigger that, or that has these chemicals, or I know that meat's like garbage meat and that's the only thing we're going to eat. So sometimes I eat beforehand, but sometimes I know the New Year's, right? There's a lot of times on New Year's you eat a lot of different food. And I just know it's going to be a horrible week or month because I'm going to have so many bad migraines from that. So that's why I try to. And people got to realize too that, we do have different food sensitivities. So if you want, we do have different food sensitivities and individualized to where people need to know that it's okay to eat beforehand or bring your own food. Or like when I go places like for New Year's, a lot of times I'll have my own kind of meal to where I see everybody eating a lot of pastas, all this stuff too, and I'll buy it all. I don't mind that, or wife cooks it, but I just know I'm not going to have any. I'm going to focus my specific meal. She's going to cook me, chicken breast, little wild rice. And again, wild rice is not a rice, it's a grass. So I'm not sure if you ever try wild rice, but that's pretty good. Black.
I have not.
Yeah, so it's alternative to people that like rice. I'm not a big rice eater, but when it comes to the wild rice, it's pretty good. And again, it's a grass. But on that side, it's like, it's okay to, tell people, no, I'm not going to eat this, because you're the one that pays after you leave and you're going to be in so much pain. Even though the food looks good, it's like, man, I could eat that and 20 minutes later, I'm done eating, but I know for a week I'm going to have nonstop migraines every single day of the week. So is it worth it? Sometimes it's like, as long as I'm full before I go somewhere or I'm drinking a lot of water or something, that helps, get me over that.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's like some of the family members, it started a few years ago when I would start taking my slice of cake home. And they would kind of just look at me like, what are you doing? Why don't you eat it here? It's like, I'd rather just eat it at home. Just because I didn't, during cake time, it'd be in the middle of the party. So last thing I needed to be away from the family for like the rest of the party because I wasn't,
Yeah.
in pain somewhere crying.
Because again, like even people don't realize, like when people have certain kind of foods like milk or something, it's not always you run into the bathroom, but just like gastritis or, just the gas pain is such a horrible feeling. So if people out there that experience gas, it's not always coming out. Sometimes it feels like somebody's kicking you in the gut, and you're like, man, what is this? Why does my back hurt so bad? And you realize it's gas and that's not going. So removing most common triggers like gluten, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, and sugar, and then reintroducing them one by one. So again, that's how you do an elimination diet. Eliminate it for a few weeks, a month. And then again, you never just go back and when it's time to reintroduce them, don't do, okay, I'm going to do gluten, dairy, soy, corn, eggs, and sugar in the same day. So for that week, say, okay, I'm still going to eliminate gluten, soy, corn, eggs, and sugar, but I'm going to introduce dairy this week only. See if you have a reaction, maybe try that for a couple of weeks. All goes well, then maybe introduce, say, corn. You introduce that for another week, it's a reaction, back off on the corn, and, just give it a couple of weeks. Now try eggs. Are you having a reaction to eggs? It's a slow process, but that's the only way to do it. I wish it was faster, but it's not the case. It's a slow process. Eliminate for a few weeks, couple months, slowly introduce one by one. Take your time, because again, pain doesn't feel good, so it's not worth it. Definitely not worth it. So again, you don't need to do it forever. It's just a reset. It helps you tune into what your body likes and what it doesn't. So again, very important to know foods can cause sensitivities. Food can cause a lot of issues. I think most people only think about that, again, like you're saying about dairy.
Yeah.
They know they have dairy. They have a reaction. Well, that's common. That's kind of, a common reaction. Eliminate that, but then they still say, okay, I'm not using a bathroom, but I'm still having this issue. My blood pressure's still high. I'm still having brain fog, or I'm still getting headaches, or my neck's always very tense. Well, it might be that those cookies you have every single night or twice a week, that it could be, you have just one bite of it and you have a reaction so severe that, it triggers for a couple of weeks. So you got to eliminate all that. And so it's just not the cookie, but it's what's in the cookie. So most people are amazed at how much they feel better when they reduce their food triggers, even if it's temporarily. So something I would suggest to everybody out there.
But that makes a lot of sense. It's like giving your body a break so it can tell you what it actually wants. I guess we usually just, kind of power through it and ignore all the signs.
Yeah. Did you ever power through it with milk?
Absolutely not. I can't. There's no way. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I know this is a topic that I know I would continue bringing up over and over again. I know there's people that would just say, hey, well, you could just kind of, man up and just deal with the pain. No, not for me. It's like, I don't know how there's some out there that are either strong-minded, but if my body can't handle dairy or milk, I'm not going to have it.
Have you ever tried the A1, A2?
Yes, I've had that. Yes, I've had that one. I had that one. I felt good. I've had goat milk. It's not for everyone, but to me, it's an acquired taste that I if it was at my house, I would drink it. And then the other one that I wasn't a fan of was, is it kefir?
Yeah.
That one, I know there's a lot of studies now saying that if, you start taking it more and more, you could reverse the lactose intolerant. But if I could live without dairy like that, I guess I should say regular milk, I'll be all right.
Yeah. The other thing people don't realize too is dairy is one of the most common triggers for people. Like in general, like so many people live on dairy, and, they might not, it goes with eggs too, that's hand in hand. A lot of people for example, myself, I have a high reaction to the egg white, but the egg yolk, no reaction. But it's like, how do you buy egg yolks? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just do a hard boiled egg and just have the yolk. I mean, that's a lot of wasted eggs for a little bit of food. But people don't realize, oh, I drink dairy all the time, or, oh, I have this creamer, or I have this. It's like, well, we measure inflammation in the body or the sensitivity to it. You're really high. I mean, that could be to cause a lot of their inflammation, and they're not realizing, oh, it's the eggs I'm eating or it's the dairy. And a lot of people don't want to hear it, but you know, it's common. But a lot of people eat eggs every day and then find out, like, I used to eat them all the time. I didn't know they're a migraine trigger until I eliminated them completely for like months. Then I'd take a bite of an egg and like, boom, you know, hours later, next day, such a bad migraine. Like, the only thing I did was had an egg, you know, even a bite of it, and it caused a reaction. But when I did a food sensitivity test, I was like, man, you know, whey protein, it's a big trigger, but chicken's very low for majority of, I would say, almost everybody. You shouldn't have a reaction to chicken, but you may have it to beef. You know, a lot of people have it to shellfish and fish in general. So it's worth getting tested. If you have a couple $100, it's less than that. But if you have that money, I highly suggest to get a food sensitivity test.
Where can one get that test?
You could reach out to us at mindfulobjective.com. You know, again, it's an at-home test. Some stores have it. You could buy it, but some people take the test. You could take it at home. Again, you could go buy it at Target and stuff like that too. They're more expensive, but say you buy it at Target, you know, take the test, submit it. It comes back. Oftentimes, a lot of people get the results, but don't really understand what to do. So that's where integrative health practitioners come into play. But that's why I suggest we don't make, there's not much markup on those tests. We don't make much money from them. So our key is working with the integrative health practitioner to get tested, and we could fully explain what to do and help you with your nutrition. So that's what we try to do. So that's one of the biggest shifts I try to tell other people. Again, not all symptoms are something to silence, but it's something to listen to. Your body isn't trying to ruin your day. It's trying to communicate. So instead of chasing symptoms with medication and constantly switching diets, hoping for something works, we take a step back, ask better questions. Again, when you're working with one of our practitioners, the intake form kind of goes into deep questions about medications you're on, supplements you're on, you know, who's your physician, what kind of prescriptions you take and stuff. So we could see the whole picture and understand, well, is it this pharmaceutical you're on that's causing your allergy reaction or your, you know, sensitivity? Is it, you know, based on your diet? What is your diet? How can we tweak your diet? And so, again, we want to give your body space to tell us the truth. It's much more empowering and effective approach. So again, that's why it's important to work with us. We want to, you know, fully look under the hood, kind of really understand what you're going through, how your nutrition is, your deficiencies and stuff. But that's why we've made, you know, not everybody needs testing. Sometimes just based on your symptoms and stuff, we could discuss and change your nutrition, do food tracking and go from there. But, you know, if it's stubborn, hey, you know, I changed my diet and this is not working. Well, let's run a food sensitivity test. You know, hey, I'm not losing weight. Let's check your thyroid. That's not working. Okay, let's go to the rest of your hormones, you know, testosterone, estrogen, and stuff like that too. So it's a slow approach. If you come to Mindful Objective, we don't just go and toss out testing. Everybody needs to do this. Let's, you know, case by case basis. Let's see your issues. And we're always trying to save people money. Again, faith-based, we work on what's best for the people and how we could give back. And that's what we try to do. It's not about us making always the money. It's about helping others.
Yeah. All right. Here's one more thing I always wanted to ask. Are food sensitivities permanent or can you heal them?
Yeah, that's another great question. And the answer is hopeful. Many cases, food sensitivities are not permanent. So again, once we reduce inflammation, heal the gut lining, restore enzyme function, and give your immune system a rest, the body often becomes more tolerant. Again, that's that bucket or rain barrel effect. So again, if you overflow in that bucket, there's too many things in there. That's where elimination comes in, a lot of fasting and stuff like that too. You eliminate a lot of that stuff. Then when you reintroduce it, you're like, wow, I'm not having symptoms to this. But if you ate that over and over and over in that given week, you may have a symptom because you're filling up that bucket again because you have a sensitivity to that food. So that's where it goes. You have a sensitivity to, say, almonds or some other food. What's one food that you do like?
Yeah, I cashews and pumpkin seeds are like my favorite. Like those are like my top tier.
So say you did the pumpkin seeds and you did food sensitivity tests and found out that was one of your triggers that are causing allergy issues. You empty your bucket, and the way you do that again is elimination diet, fasting, all that, eating proper, eliminating any foods that cause sensitivities. But then it's okay a lot of times once your bucket's emptied to where you could say, okay, I'm going to have those pumpkin seeds and cashews once a week or once a month. And that's your kind of go-to, right? Here's a little snack. I have it once a week. No issues. But then you notice, okay, I'll try it every other week. No issues. You're good. But then it might get to that point where you're having a reaction to it again. So you just eliminate it for a little while and again, go back. But so again, it's not always permanent, right? But that means you would need to introduce the food slowly, like we talked about. So to see if you have the same symptoms. So the whole goal isn't about to cut the foods out forever. Again, I don't have a good relationship with food. A lot of people don't because of, hey, every time I eat these things, I gain weight. So it gets to the point where it's like, well, I don't want to eat, if that's causing me gain weight. But again, when you don't eat and starve yourself, then your body stores everything as fat. That leads us down a whole nother way. You mess up your adrenal glands, your thyroid by not eating. So sometimes you have to force yourself to eat for energy, but eat proper. So, it takes time to heal the terrain so your body isn't reacting so aggressively. And the bonus is when you heal the gut and calm your immune system, you're also improving skin, energy, hormones, and sleep. And so just, again, over time, everything will get better.
Man, that's good to know. I like food. I'd rather not break up with it forever.
Yeah. Well, you're not alone. There's a lot of people that are foodies out there. My wife, man, she can't live without food.
And I'm the same way. I am the same way.
Yeah. How's your wife with food?
She's just like you. She would only eat to survive. I survive to eat.
Yeah, it's not fun. But again, we're here to make life easier, and we're not here to make your life smaller. We're here to make it more connected. The beauty of integrative health, we don't just survive, we just learn how to thrive in our own skin. So again, each person's individualized. It's just different. But so one thing to do is, nature knows best. So, again, we want to work to calm the immune system naturally. So we did talk about allergies and sensitivities actually work and how your body might be reacting to the overload of the danger. So let's shift to something about asking, what can I do about it naturally? That's where integrative health really shines. We're not looking at medications or avoidance. We're rebuilding resilience, supporting the body from multiple angles so you're not constantly at war with the environment or your food or war with yourself. I think that's a big one.
I agree. Okay. Good, because when allergy season hits, I feel like I am I guess it could be a survival mode, the itchy eye, the foggy head, the sneezing. It's brutal. And popping pills just makes me sleepy. If you've got, like the real stuff that I can actually do, I'm all ears.
I hear you. And first off, yes, there are things you could do that don't involve antihistamines or staying indoors 24/7. Antihistamines knock me out, but also give me a migraine, so I never take antihistamines. But so let's start with food. That might surprise people, but certain foods act most like natural antihistamines. They help regulate inflammation, stabilize immune cells, and calm histamine release. There's some helpful things you could do is quercetin, vitamin C, bromelain, and we talked about already omega-3s, but again, quercetin, vitamin C, bromelain, and omega-3s. So if you're dealing with food sensitivities or gut issues on top of allergies, try cutting out inflammatory foods for a while, like sugar, gluten, dairy, and processed oils. Give your system a break so it doesn't feel like it's fighting everything every time.
All right, so quick reality check. Are you saying that I should eat more pineapple and onions and my sinuses might chill out?
Yeah, pretty much. It's not magic, but these foods really help dial down inflammation and calm the immune response. This is why we, really focus on nutrition here at Mindful Objective. So it's especially part of your regular routine, not just, if you're already miserable. But food is just one piece. We need to talk about lifestyle because it's how you live acts and how it affects your body and how your body reacts. So again, we talked about one huge factor, which is stress. But it's worth repeating. When your stress levels are high, your immune system's on edge. You're fighting in that fight or flight mode, not healing mode. That's when allergies hit harder. So you got to learn how to regulate your nervous system through breath work, meditation, spending time in nature, or just deep breath, deep, slow breathing. This can lower intensity of allergy reactions. And it helps you move from overreacting to responding. It makes your body feel safer so it's not freaking out so easily.
You know what? I never thought stress and sneezings were connected. When I'm calm, when I'm calmer, it's like everything feels less dramatic. I just thought it was in my head.
Yeah, that's all of us, man. And you got to remember your head is connected to your body. And we often forget that. It's all one system. That's why we sleep, movement, mindset are powerful allergy tools. So even something like gentle movement, walking, yoga, rebounding on a mini trampoline helps lymphatic system drain. That's where I have that vibrating machine. Awesome machine, but it helps work on that. So that's a system that clears out waste and inflammation. The more you move, the better your body clears out all the stuff that doesn't need to hold on to. Also, clean air and clean spaces using HEPA air filters at home, especially in the bedroom, makes a big difference. Pollen, mold spores, dust mites, they all float around indoors. Sometimes indoor air is worse than outdoor, so improving your home environment takes pressure off. And again, at mindfulobjective.com, if you go to shop, there are recommendations in there for a whole air filters for your house. So you also want to check for hidden mold under sinks and basements, even old AC units. Mold exposure can trigger all kinds of allergy-like symptoms and often is missed.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Espanol?
Yeah. Can you touch on mold? Because mold can actually mess with people's allergies.
Yeah, 100%. Mold is sneaky. It produces compounds that irritate the immune system, even if you're not allergic to mold on the test. So again, you go to your allergist and they said, no, mold's not on there. That's not always the fact. That's, it's something that it still can irritate your immune system. So the last piece of supplements, we need to think how they're really supportive. Here are a few, again, I recommend, is that quercetin. Another one that's good is stinging nettle. That's a natural antihistamine inflammatory herb. NAC, we use that. It helps break down mucus and detox pathways. Another one I know you like is probiotics, especially like strains like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium. These support the immune system and your gut health. But always talk to a practitioner before starting a bunch of new things. But these can work wonders, especially combined with lifestyle and diet.
This actually gives me hope. I always thought allergies were just, something I had to live with or medicate forever. But you're saying if I take care of my gut, manage stress, clean up my environment, and give my body the right food and support, it could actually calm down?
Yes, and that's the heart of integrative health. We don't just suppress symptoms. We look at your whole body as reacting. We create a space for it to rest. Again, we want to help empty that bucket. But remember, it takes time, but it's doable. You're not broken. You're just out of rhythm. And that's something we can work with. So that's why, from your health journey, that's the path we're on, right? Slow but steady.
Yeah. Well, I love that. I'm officially ready to go buy some. Let me see if I say it right. All right. Is it quercetin? Quercetin.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, no, it's beneficial.
All right.
So again, that's the spirit. When we come back, on here, we're going to close on this final segment. So we want to reset, not react. And we want to give you the next steps toward balance. So we covered a lot today, from allergies to food sensitivities, what they actually are, how your gut, stress, and even your air quality can influence how body reacts. Now I want to land this plane by offering realistic next steps, something you could do this week, not someday, not when life slows down, but now. Because healing doesn't require perfection. It just needs a starting point. Again, working with Gerardo on his health journey from start to finish. You'll be here with us while we go through his tests and so forth on there. But to be all honest, we hear people in terms that they talk, you see it on social media a lot, gut health, immune resistance, but it can feel a little overwhelming. Not everybody knows this stuff. So like you have to change everything overnight, you don't. Most healing happens in small, consistent shifts. Again, shift one could be eliminating dairy, and you eliminate dairy, you notice a difference. It's like, well, how do I move to step two? So simple choices like that help lower your body's load and give it a chance to recalibrate. So now let's look at these 3 easy wins you could try this week to help your body react less and recover more.
Yes, I need this part. I love information, but I always like, what do I actually do now? Because there's not a lot of information, there's a lot of, I guess I could say, like, even like on social media, it'll be a post that would tell you, hey, do this and this and this, or stick around till you hear option number 3, and there you are. It could be 2, 3 in the morning. You're trying to see this informative video, and then they'll hit you with hey, go ahead and just sign up, and then I'll send you, I'll go ahead and send you the guide. But it's like, that's the last thing. You're putting information out there, and I think that's, I'm learning. You're helping me out with that, but this is information that, this might benefit people. Some might not, not even be, not want to do this journey themselves,
Yeah. Or it's, again, we're here to offer free education and stuff too, however we can. Even if you're not our client, take action steps from these different podcasts and visit the website. We have resources on there too. But, you don't always have to come to us. You could do this journey on your own. Just start off with the information you have. Again, food tracking, elimination diet, do different kind of testing, or just maybe the elimination diet works for you with the food tracking, and you get on the right path. But that's all we're here about, helping people. So, one thing you could do out of the 3 action steps we have here is 1, clean up your space. So again, pick up your bedroom, kitchen, or car and clean it intentionally. Use natural cleaners, open the windows, and if you can, vacuum with a HEPA filter. Why? And this is because your immune system is constantly responding to what you breathe in. Clean air equals less internal chaos. Another one that we did talk about too is inflammatory diet. You want to have an anti-inflammatory food day. This could be a cup of green tea, a handful of berries, some leafy greens, or even adding turmeric to your soup. You don't have to do a detox, just something healing, one thing at a time. But speaking on the detox is, one good way to kind of empty that rain barrel, that bucket, is a 7 to 21 day functional medicine detox. That really helps clean out the system, helps empty your liver and heal your liver. It works great. So something to keep in mind. Number 3, I would say practice one's nervous system to reset. So take 3 to 5 minutes a day to sit still and breathe. I know this hectic life, we're kind of always moving and we have so many things to do, but health comes first. So always remember that. So think slowly, let your exhale be longer than your inhale. This signals your brain, hey, we're safe. And when your body feels safe, it stops overreacting. That's when healing begins.
Okay, I like that. That's all stuff that I could actually do. And it doesn't feel like it's like a giant lifestyle change. It's just being a little more intentional.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what people got to get into understanding is, I really got to take action on my health. A lot of people, I'll go to the doctor next week, or I'll do this, or I'm not eating as much greasy foods. It's a good step, but sometimes you have to dive deeper than that. So again, not to be overwhelmed, it's about awareness. If you start there, you're already doing something powerful because you're listening. So another one, thank you for listening to our podcast. Again, hopefully we're helping you too. And that's why I hope this podcast is about, where it helps you, not just with allergies or histamines or gut bacteria, but learning to listen to your body signals without fear, without frustration, and without shutting them down. Your symptoms are information, not punishment. And the more curious you become, the more solutions start to show up. And again, don't beat yourself up because you get off your diet, next day, start over, move on. So many people beat themselves up and get depressed and, I can't believe I had that. I did so good over the week. We all do that, but you just gotta, it happened. I ate something bad. Tomorrow's another day. I'm gonna eat healthy, and I want to be here for a long life, especially for my kids. So whatever I can do to make those changes.
I honestly feel like I understand my own body now better than I did before. Obviously, since I started coming to you with the recommendations. I came in with questions like, why do I sneeze so much? And now I'm thinking about my gut or even my stress.
Yeah. So again, I mean, if you're stressed out, you're taking a lot of energy out of your body. Sometimes people cause themselves to be sick because of stress. So stress is a serious thing. So tomorrow's another day. Take a deep breath. Don't stress things. You worry, but worrying gets you nowhere. And a lot of times when we do worry, it never happens. So let's try not to worry. Let's breathe more. Let's do some yoga and stuff like that. Again, the goal is, to learn. So again, you don't need a medical degree to be your body's advocate. Again, each individual is different. So you are in control of your body. You need to kind of dictate what you're doing, what you're ingesting, how you feel, how you explain how you feel, and take actions. So you just need curiosity, some guidance, and space to ask better questions. And that's what we're here trying to do at Mindful Objective. We're trying to break things down without dumbing them down. We want to help you connect the dots to where you feel better as a human.
Mission accomplished. And now I got to go grab some quarantine, and maybe I could actually use that yoga mat, that my wife has, the yoga mat that my wife has at home.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. So, and we're going to wrap this up now. So with everyone listening, here's your challenge for this week. Again, pick one food or one area, food, air, or stress, and take a mindful step in the direction of healing. Keep it simple, keep it doable, and watch what shifts. If this episode helped you reframe your symptoms, or if it gave you something useful to try, share it with a friend. Leave us a review and let us know what part hit home for you. We'd love to hear it. Again, we're always trying to tweak these things to understand what people are looking for. So if you do have any kind of show questions, visit mindfulobjective.com/podcast and fill out the form to ask us a question. Also, stay tuned for the next episode, episode 10. I'll go in depth discussing allergies and how they compare to food sensitivities. Well, this will be in full detail. A reminder, a quick medical disclaimer, this podcast is for informational, educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Any last questions or anything from you, Gerardo?
As of right now, I'm all out of questions for today, but I just want to, give a shout out to everybody that listens to your solo podcast, listens to the podcast where you and I are in together, and the feedback from everybody is awesome. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And continue to send in those listener questions. So again, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Follow us on social media at Mindful Objective. And so you get more health tips, and you'd want to visit our website for additional resources. Again, mindfulobjective.com/resources. We do have different kind of food shopping list. We have types of meat to buy, dairy alternative names and stuff like that too. So again, mindfulobjective.com/resources. So we appreciate you being here, and we'll see you next time. And remember, when your body reacts, don't panic. Just get curious. Try to identify what's causing it, and we're here to help. So see you next time. Stay well.